Hello, everybody. Welcome to AI Shortcuts to Work Smarter. I'm Madalyn Sklar, helping content creators and entrepreneurs master AI tips, tools, and shortcuts. We've got quite the session today. We're going to talk about Anthropic's announcement this week that they'll be adding invisible watermarks to all Claude models. This is going to be interesting. And we're also going to take a look at ChatGPT's new work feature and also a very interesting AI issue I've had on TikTok this week. So we got lots to discuss. I'm just going to go ahead and bring our panelists up on stage. Hello, Barb and Rachel. Good to see you all today. How's it going?
Great.
Good.
Good to see y'all. There's always, so funny, like every week we do this, and it's just like so much that goes on in AI. And I feel like I'm just barely scratching, just a little scratch of the big picture of everything. And every week I'm like, well, I don't know how I'm going to top that because we talked about so much. And then of course, it's like a whole cascade of things just come on in the AI world. And while there's a gazillion tools, gazillion apps, so many different things, I just really focus on the things that I use, the tools I use, but also the big news. Like I don't use Claude a whole lot these days, but Anthropic, dropped a huge, I don't want to say bombshell, but like a really huge announcement that's going to impact all of its users. But the other tools are going to be doing the same thing, with watermarking. So I can't wait to have that discussion, especially Rachel, with you being an author and working with authors. I know AI is such a big topic of discussion in your circles.
It really is. And I don't write about it because it's just so controversial, but I'm keeping an eye on everything. And for any authors who really want to kind of know what's going on, I would recommend following Jane Friedman because she's been on top of all of this. She writes about it every week in her Substack, and it's free. So you might as well go ahead and subscribe to her.
Jane or Yne?
F-R-I Friedman. I'm not sure if it's E-I or I-E-D-M-A-N, but if you look her up, she's got brown hair and glasses, and she talks all over the world about publishing and this AI stuff that's happening.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Welcome to everybody that's here live with us. If you're watching the replay, thank you for catching that as well. We're broadcasting all over social. I can't believe I'm finally out of Facebook jail, and we're actually on my Facebook profile live right now. So hi to anybody watching on my Facebook. There's always a workaround though. So for the last 3 months, when I was not allowed to do it because of AI, because of Meta's AI bots, grabbed something old and didn't like it and put me in Facebook jail where I couldn't live stream. But there's always a workaround. And so what I kept doing was taking Barb's live stream of this that's on her Facebook, and I would just share it onto my profile. Done. It's right there for everybody to see. So yeah, it's so funny because it's like I've still been on my Facebook profile live streaming these every week, but it is nice that Facebook let me back in. And I'm not, at least for the moment. But later, we're going to talk about an AI bot issue I've had with TikTok that's just insane. And we're in a world now where these AI bots, all the big companies, they're all utilizing this, all the social media platforms, where the AI bots are checking to see if you're following their community guidelines. And if it thinks you're not, they'll just remove it. And like, I got a strike on my TikTok yesterday. Like they immediately removed it, gave me a strike, and gave me just all this information about all this trouble I was in. I'm like, I went back and watched the video. I'm like, it's nothing wrong here. So I appealed. I won the appeal this morning. But I'm going to walk y'all through it later because it's just a reminder that these bots have really taken control of the internet, and they can do things that are not necessarily the right thing. So you just want to be aware. If anything, just be aware on these different platforms. We know Facebook, Meta has been doing it like crazy for quite a while now. I'm really concerned about them doing that more in the DMs. I mean, I'm sure they are in Messenger. I just wonder to what extent. I just don't really trust doing DMs anywhere now. I feel like they're all eyes are on us with every single thing we say, utilizing AI bots. It's scary. But I want to jump into the whole Anthropic thing, because this is, actually, before we do that, let me just remind people, we have our Skool community. I always forget to bring this up. Come join us in Skool, because this session we're doing right now, this is our weekly live hangout that's all over social media. We do this every Thursday afternoon at 1:00 Eastern. But we also have our Skool community, and that's the continuous platform for us, where we're always having discussions and talking about things over there. So come join us over on Skool. Quick, easy link is bit.ly/Madalyn Skool. But this is where, our conversations continue on. One of the things I posted the other day is something I want to talk about later. ChatGPT work. I've been playing around with all these new features, but this is basically our home to hang out in 24/7. So just want to make sure everybody's aware. And one of the things I'm working on too is I'm going to have, I'm going to call it my Madalyn's AI lab in the Skool community. I'm going to set up a separate tier, because what we do here is more overview, because there's always so much to talk about. And I like just having these discussions with y'all where we can kind of, look at these different things, analyze it, share our thoughts and insights, and all learn from each other. And then this AI lab I want to put into place is going to be more of the hands-on. All right, let's really dive into some of these things and work it together. Like the ChatGPT work, I'm going to play some video of that later. There's a great how-to video, and I'm just going to play more of an overview just to show you, look at all these cool things you can do with the new ChatGPT work. Very much like Claude work, if people use Claude work. But it'll take way too long. It'll be like a whole session just diving in and let's figure this out. Let's go hands-on, do this together. So I want to be able to have a place and a way to do that. And so that's what I'm going to be working on is the more hands-on in Skool. So be sure to join it. The bottom line, join us in Skool, because we have lots going on over there. It's a free community. Go to skool.com, look for AI shortcuts, or just go to bit.ly/Madalyn Skool, MADALYN SKOOL. All right, got that out of the way. So what I want to have us discuss is this whole Claude marking AI generated content. Have y'all heard about this? I mean, this is something that was just announced this week. So it's brand new. I know not everybody's heard about it. What all have y'all heard about this so far, if at all? Anything?
Yeah, I was reading several articles, of course, on Substack, because that tends to be where I spend the most of my time. But also I'm seeing it on TechCrunch and Business Insider, and it's a big deal. So yeah, I am seeing it, and on all the socials too.
Yeah, it's pretty big news. So Anthropic, that's Claude, one of the top AI platforms, they made this big announcement about how they are basically going to start doing something new that I think all the other AI platforms are going to be doing. And I'll put the link to this in my YouTube later, the YouTube version replay of this session. But this article here has all the details from Claude support. But basically, they signed an EU AI Act about transparency of AI generated content. And so they talk here about all these things they're going to be doing. New models will mark AI generated content from day one. So all the new Claude models are going to be doing this. So this is because of the EU and what's that, European Union? Is that right? Isn't that what that stands for?
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is going to carry over worldwide. So their new models they launch on or after August 2nd, which is already now, are going to support this. And then they're going to have this work on all their models. I guess it's just going to take some time. But it even says right here that they are going to apply this to output from supported Claude models, all Claude Code, Claude Work, all the things they do. And it will include existing models. So I put together some various videos I've uncovered where people talk about this and explain it, because I'm still trying to understand all the ins and outs about this. But let me play a couple of these short videos just so we can really grasp exactly what's happening here. And then, of course, we're going to have a great discussion about it. So let me start with this first video I came across. This is, see if I can get this to start.
Text is about to get a lot easier to catch, from your inbox to your DMs. Anthropic, the company behind Claude, says that going forward, it's adding invisible watermarks to text that its AI models generate. But why now? It's driven by a new law, the EU AI Act, which requires all AI-generated content to be marked in some way. But Anthropic says the marking will apply everywhere Claude is offered, worldwide. So what is a text watermark? When an AI model writes a sentence, it predicts the order of the words based off of what it was trained on. A watermark steers some of those choices into a pattern. You won't be able to see it. It doesn't change what the words say. But run the text through the right detector, and that hidden pattern flags that it was AI written. Anthropic is not the first to do this. Google's Gemini has watermarked text since 2024. OpenAI has said that it has similar technology for ChatGPT and will soon roll it out to comply with that EU law. So how good is any of this really? These watermarks will survive copy and paste, and they could also hold up through some small edits. But the companies say that heavy rewriting, translating the text, or of course simply typing up the text yourself can wipe the signal out completely. But beware, finding a watermark is not necessarily proof that AI wrote something, since using an AI to reformat a human written piece, for example, that could leave a watermark as well. And not finding a watermark does not prove that AI didn't write it either. So the tech is getting sharper, but there are still ways around it.
So what do y'all think? I mean, she brings up excellent points at the end that, like, this is not perfect. There are these tracker tools out there. I played with them. Most of them are terrible. But the thing is, AI is following patterns. Well, where do they get their patterns from? People. So,
Exactly.
you know, I feel like it's a
Ridiculous.
double-edged sword is what I feel like. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm
People are
not,
going to get accused of using AI when they truly did not. Or
right. That's
maybe,
already happening.
yeah.
I
And
mean, I've had in one of my groups, I mean, it was a really severe argument. And I said, you know, and the guy is somebody we've known for 30 some years, you know, and it's like, he's
wow.
a top notch, honest, forthright person. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And they wouldn't give it up. But
Wow.
he embraced technology early on. And, you know, he was one of those that had graphic design skills and so forth, and way back and when we first got computers. And I'm telling you that's just the technology. It takes a true artist to be able to turn it into something that really looks remarkable. And I mean, writing is an art form as well, and it's the same story. You got to be able to edit everything you write. It's not good just well, I'll save it till later. But I get too excited about it myself, because I published my first 3 books, and I actually have the certificate from the copyright department here in the United States. I registered those copyrights, and that was in the 70s. And I was poo-pooed everywhere because I self-published it instead of being, you know, boy, she was really sharp. She could do that herself. And I proved it could be done. Because selling a book, and I love that Rachel's here, because selling a book is a whole other story. Marketing that book,
Right.
you know, is getting it out there, and that's a human thing. So,
yeah. Rachel, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, being that you're in the book world, author who works with authors. So give us your thoughts.
Well, it's, you know, I think it's a very nuanced issue. And what's happening is that people who have not used AI, people are, you know, publishers and readers, like everybody's like the AI police now. And so they're putting in works to say, was this AI generated? The problem is that people are putting in books they wrote 10 years ago, and it's coming up as AI generated, which wouldn't have obviously been possible.
Wow.
So that's an issue, because most in the publishing industry, people use Panagram. Panagram has now just been added to Substack. So you can scan your own work or someone else's work to see if it's coming up as AI. So now everybody potentially can be the AI police. The problem, again, with Panagram is that people are putting in their posts before AI existed, and it's still coming out as AI generated. So the other thing that I read, and I don't know that I understand the science of all this, so maybe you guys know more than I do, is Anthropic, for example, was trained illegally, well, on pirated books, right? That's why there's this huge lawsuit. And so then what they're saying now is that AI, it learned on certain things, right? So it's putting out these patterns, as she was just saying, but it's going to start recognizing
Yes.
the new stuff it's creating as being AI generated, and then it'll kick it out. Like, I wasn't sure how that worked, but that whole thing is interesting. But yeah, it's definitely affecting publishing it in every
I bet.
place that you can imagine. Amazon has now got rules and regs that you Barnes and Noble and Ingram Spark, everybody, you have to say, even if you used AI to organize your outline, you have to say, this is how I used AI. And one more point, Carly Waters is a very well-known agent that I followed forever on Twitter, and now she's over on Substack. And she said to screenshot everything that you do in order to prove that you either used it for what you said you used it for, but not for the actual writing, or you didn't use it at all. I don't know how you'd screenshot that you didn't use it, but whatever.
You know what I would do? Excellent idea, but screenshotting, like, that could be a lot. Just screen record, just have your, you know what I think, you know what? There's going to be a company that's going to go, let's set up an app that just screen records you all day. So you can just press the button, or as soon as you turn on your computer, because you're going to need like the proof. I mean, I can't imagine being an author and you've got some amazing work. You put it out there and it's accused of AI generated. And it's like, what? So it's almost like it's going to be guilty until you can prove otherwise.
Yeah, and that's the assumption, is if this tool comes up, let's just say Panagram says, oh, this is 90%, they've clarified it's either 90% written or organized or, used in some way. So I guess it'll define exactly how it's been used. I don't know. I think there's a lot of growth and a lot of what they call false positives.
Yeah, that's concerning. And actually, I haven't talked about this a lot, but me and my good friend and colleague, Kami Hoysa, we used to do a podcast years ago called Communities That Convert. It was all about building online and offline communities. And we had decided that we hadn't done the podcast in a long time, but we did it for about 3 years. And it's so much great evergreen content. We had decided one day, like, we should make a book version of all of this. And we have so much between the two of us. We have so much decades of experience of building online communities currently and from the past. And we just feel like we have so much knowledge, but we also collected a lot of it on the podcast. And of course, we've used AI to help us get all this content, organize it. I mean, we had lots and lots of episodes. So, I mean, we've gotten the transcripts of everything and try to use it to help organize. It's not writing the book for us, but it's helping us, get it organized, and then also checking our work and verifying things and stuff. But it's like, well, how is all this going to work? Like, we have no problem disclosing, of course, that we used AI to help us, but it's helping us not as the writer, So is it going to be like different levels of what you disclose? Well, you use AI as your copywriter or your
Right.
proofreader, or
Right.
like, I'm sure that's a conversation y'all are having in the book world, in the author world.
And it yes, it is happening. And also, if you don't disclose that and you upload your book to Amazon and then they run it, I'm sure they're running AI checks on every uploaded book at this
Sure.
point, and it gets flagged, then they're going to say to you, you either need to fix the portions that are coming up as AI, or you need to remove the book, or we suspend your account. So you have to say up front how you're using it. And yeah, that's why I think it, like I said, it's a very nuanced conversation.
Yeah.
Using AI does not mean it's writing your book for you. Maybe it helped you format, and that was what all it did, right? But then you must disclose that you've used AI. And so the assumption is that if you used it, you used it to write. When you may have not.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's
And I don't see anything wrong with it helping you write if it's helping you to get your thoughts out and make it better.
yeah, I
Right.
think
You
it's
know,
a
It's a tool.
wonderful, yeah, I have a very I have a friend with, she has dyslexia and another type of reading disability, and she's been able to write her first book using ChatGPT.
wow.
It's all her stuff, but
Right.
she couldn't type it with,
Right.
like, the brain did not attach to the hands. So in that way, it's a tool that's basically helping like any other ability tool. So I don't know. I think
Absolutely.
a lot, there's another side to this argument that it's an ableist argument, because there are a lot of people who can't write, but in normal circumstances, but now can because of these AI assisted tools.
Well, and like Whisperflow, great example. Like
Exactly.
with my wrist issues, I would not be able to just sit at my computer for hours and hours every day just typing out
Yeah.
a book,
Yeah.
but I can talk. And here's an interesting going down that path. So Gary Vaynerchuk, who's written all these bestseller books, very well known for digital marketing, entrepreneurship, his books are amazing.
Mhm.
He once talked about how he cannot just sit down and write. The way he would do his books, all these bestseller books, is he would audio record himself talking and then take that and turn it into a book. Well, in this day and age, you do that and AI can help you do it 10 times faster. And what's wrong with that? So
The argument, I guess, would be, well, now you're taking away somebody who you would have potentially paid to edit your work, to copy edit, to structurally edit, etc. There are people who just do formatting work. There are
Yeah.
people who just create visuals and graphic design. If you do the whole book soup to nuts with AI, you don't need to hire any of those other people. But here's another thought that I had while you were talking about that, Madalyn, is for people that want to do the traditional route, you write the query, you write the proposal, you submit the chapters, you write the whole book, you get published. And then at that point, after 2 or 3 years or 10 years of all this effort, somebody says, no, it's AI. I think it's AI. And so I think it's actually going to, this is just me, it may end up encouraging more people to self-publish so they just don't have to deal with all of that.
Exactly. I think you're right.
It's going
But-
to be interesting. Oh, go ahead, Barb. Go ahead.
Sorry, but when you said that, immediately a light bulb went off, because let's say you are that person, you've called on the AI to help you in the editing of it. If you didn't go to school and learn proper grammar to begin with, and you're not going to, it's going to come out looking like that. And you won't know if the ChatGPT or whatever one you're using, if it used it. So it still gets back to the human being. And, you know, it's going to make all that difference, because that's why we needed those additional people as editors. And some of us decided to focus on just writing, just expressing ourselves, getting out there. And others of us said, well, we need your book to look good, look appealing, to keep their eyes on the text. And, you know, so they specialized in that. And that's why it took so many people. It already has revolutionized the publishing industry. But just like I said, when I was back in the 70s and I self-published to begin with, and it was I'm a published author, and I've been featured in a lot of books that went the traditional route. And I'm at home with my library now. I'm looking at all these famous people that I worked with because of my connections online, and they're all gone. And it's like, if they would have had those tools, they would have been so far ahead, and really left us something in the world, even something greater. And the bad part, I bring that up because, like what the AI company we were talking about at the beginning, I'm sorry I spaced it out, but when they were stealing the copy from those books, that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
Yeah,
Anthropic. Don't even question that. Anthropic, yeah. And so, because it wasn't just the work of the person credited as author. You'll see there's fine print in there. There's, forewords. People have contributed to that. But back when I first published, it was very, oh, you self-published, I don't want to talk to you. But if you have the right information, they'll pay a premium price for it. I used to laugh because it cost me 50 cents per book to publish. And off of every one of those, I made over $500.
Wow.
And you do 200 books, because that is really how I made my first wad of money, was by self-publishing. And because it was what was inside that book that mattered. It is the content. And so, unfortunately, I was one of those geeky kids in English. I love diagramming sentences. You'll have to Google that, see as well. In putting sentences together. And so I think it's going to make writers even more creative, though. I mean, people who say, oh, I love to write. It's like, because for me with ChatGPT, I argue with it. I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding. I came up with that. Did I put that in the lesson? And it is a conversation tool as well. And as a writer, way back when, it was very lonely world. Oh, I'm going to work on my, oh, will you do that? I'm going to go do something else. People don't want to do that. So,
right.
Hey.
It's such a great topic for discussion. I'm going to play you all a couple of short videos of influencers kind of explaining all of this. So let me play some of these for you. Let me cue this up.
Claude will be watermarking all text that it produces so that it can be accurately detected, and you won't be able to see or remove that watermark. It will even survive copy and paste and some editing. So here's everything we know. It's coming very soon, and you can follow me for the latest updates on that. So Anthropic, the company behind Claude, has signed up to the EU's new AI transparency rules, which puts pressure on all AI companies to make detection of AI-generated text, images, video, everything easier. This already exists in Google Gemini, and it will be coming to ChatGPT or whatever AI that you use. And this text watermarking system will apply worldwide and everywhere that Claude's available. So not just the app, but the API and Claude code. It will basically be unavoidable. And they've baked it into the next model. So whenever we get Fable 5.1, Opus 5.1, etc., we'll definitely have this. But they're also working on putting into current and older models. So it's a bit vague when it's going to hit. I will, of course, keep you posted. So how do you hide a watermark in just plain text? There's no secret characters, no metadata. Well, the watermark is the word choices or combinations of word choices throughout a piece of AI-generated text. So when an LLM processes language, it doesn't really see words. It just sees tokens, these building blocks of language, and each token has an ID number. So the word great in GPT-5, for instance, is token number 67530. And when AI writes, at every step, it's choosing the next token from a short list of good options. Maybe great, brilliant, and excellent would all work, but in the background, background, Claude will consistently choose certain types of numbers over others. And these choices over a long piece of text would never show up by coincidence. So a detector will be able to confidently say, this is written by AI. So the first thing to say about evading detection in a system like this is that you could write shorter snippets of text, because detectors can't be quite as sure about spotting those patterns across just a few lines. But when it sees that pattern consistently across a full page, it's unmistakable. And the chances of that being an accident are now astronomically small. And it's a clever system because you would never notice it. It won't degrade or change the quality of the writing, but the detector will immediately spot AI writing and anything else it produces, like documents, images, and files, very easily. And yes, Anthropic says that detection tools are coming, so teachers, employers, publishers, anyone will be able to check text for this watermark. And some of the usual methods that people use to evade AI detectors won't work. So if you use a prompt in your AI, like humanize this text, or some people like speak out loud the text back into their computer, or even just manually edit the text, the watermark will probably still survive all of those methods. And one issue that we're going to have is that even when people write something completely themselves, but then get AI to proofread and correct that, there's a possibility that this watermark could even show up there, because if there's an opportunity for the AI in the proofreading to just tweak a few word choices, then again, it can insert that pattern that an AI detector would see and say, this was written by AI. Claude?
Wow. He had a lot to say. It's like, oh man, I don't know.
More than a mouthful.
Yeah,
I would say.
that was a lot
But
to take in.
that's scary, but it's not at the same time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not scary to me because I still say, and because going back to the very, the ones and zeros when we started with the files, you can, for years, there are ways that people can skirt around it. And I don't care what they say. They said they couldn't do it. That's their take on it. You can spend your whole life going in, making sure you don't go over the line. I mean, that's why attorneys make so much money. The whole thing is that concentrate on putting out quality product. Use the tool. And then if you're really paranoid about it, then print it out on paper and go back and dictate it through your StreamYard, and then you start again. There's just so many ways you can get around
Hold on.
it.
Okay. So I think that's going to be a common thing people do, but here's the thing. For the person who couldn't do this in the past because of the time consumption, and AI allows them to do it quicker, then that right there is going to defeat the whole part. They're going to say, well, I'm not going to do this book now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Like, if
Yeah,
time's
you're
a
right.
factor, they're going to say, well, okay, for me to get around all this, I'm going to have to do double or triple the amount of work. So what's the point? So it's such a double-edged sword. I can see the good, the positive. I see a lot of negative. And my biggest concern is people being accused of using AI when they truly did not, or
Right.
just in a partial way, but not in a nefarious way. So I don't know.
No, you're right,
This
Madalyn.
is a tough one because there's so many different angles, but I got a video for us to watch with the author point of view. And so, Rachel, I'm so glad you're here today, because when I found this video, I'm like, oh, I hope Rachel can join us, because this will be an interesting perspective. So let me cue this up.
Let's talk about the Claude watermark and what it means for us as authors who are trying to prove that we did not use AI in our human-generated work. Welcome back to This Nightmare. I'm Carrie. I actually work in AI, which, long story short, I started machine learning in 2018, and anyone in that role now works in AI. Congrats. But in my free time, I write fantasy novels by hand the old-fashioned way, because there's no point in doing it any other way. So let's talk about this news that Anthropic came out with the other day. Anthropic is saying that they are adding a watermark to Claude. And what this means is that the outputted content from Claude is going to have a statistical signature in the writing. You can kind of think of it the same way that we all have our own voice. Claude's writing isn't going to have its well, it still has AI voice, but the order of the words and the usage of the language is going to have a statistically measurable pattern that another machine could look at and say with a reasonable degree of confidence that, hey, Claude was probably used to develop this work. This is great in my opinion. However, I don't think that it really meaningfully helps authors who are trying to prove that no AI was used in their work, because what it is proof positive that AI was used. What it isn't is proof that no AI was used. So you could still say, well, you used an AI that wasn't Claude, or you used Claude and then edited it heavily, so that signature is no longer there, because if you move the words around enough, AI is no longer visible. I definitely am curious to see if other major AI players start adding the signature. I think that alone would be very helpful. But again, all this is proof positive that you used AI and is not proof that you didn't, which is very frustrating that we even have to have this conversation in the first place.
Okay. Any thoughts on her take in the author world?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer. I think 5 years from now, people are going to look back at this conversation, not us, but the fact that people are like, should AI and laugh, because AI is now becoming such a part of our lives in every aspect. So the fact that somebody might use it doesn't make them evil or a bad person. They might be able to create things they never would have dreamed of without this possibility.
Right.
I think it's making me more efficient as a business person, because I use this example all the time, but like I can take back cover copy and say, transcribe this exactly. And then I can form social media posts out of it. If I was going to hand type all of that out, it would take me a bit longer. So it's a time saver, I think, for business people. As a writer, if you need to use it in order to write, I don't think that makes you a bad person.
Right.
But you know, people have become the self-appointed AI police.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
and I honestly don't think we can stop that either. We can't stop if people use it. We can't stop
Right.
if people criticize people who do use it. Like I said, I think it's just going to become a ubiquitous part of our lives. Whether we use it or not, it's being used.
Right.
And so I think we just have to realize this is where technology is, not where it's going, where it is right now. And it's going to continue to evolve. And I don't know that that's a bad thing or a good thing. It is.
Right.
You know?
That's the thing. Exactly. Perfectly.
I think that the masses, though, are adapting to it faster. And I thought it was very interesting about coming out of the UK, because, you know, my other passion is hot air and gas ballooning. And in that, there are events. They have events all the time. And what I noticed was from the UK side, they were using Claude. They were using all kinds of AI all of a sudden, because, you know, so many of events are nonprofit operations, and there, you know, it becomes the cost of producing an event. It really can cut back if they use the AI, but it was so efficient and getting things done so much faster. But when I looked at the end product, I thought, you can tell that there wasn't anybody that had any design background that was involved in this. That's never going to change. You've got to have the basic skill sets. And I think that also goes back to the days of the PC, because when we introduce, you know, being used Paint and Photoshop and all of that, I mean, they really were against it. It's like, you know, on a real artist, you shouldn't be able to put that in an art gallery. And I just years and years that went on. And still, you know, with that product, not everybody has been credited being an artist publicly. The way that they get that is through publicizing, through marketing. And that's another people skill. That's another, you know, and you can combine that with technology, and you can use the AI to help you do that. So it's going to move faster. I think it's better overall, but I think we're going to always have naysayers when anything new comes up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this because AI is it's a major topic. And I think we have seen when we talk about authentic, and we see children, they've taken children's pictures and done horrible things with them. It's like, this is not right. Common sense and logic says this is not right. So that's misusing a tool. That's not using it for the common good. And just by building that tool, that technology tool, to be in there as you're using the product, to be able to stamp it so that it is, it can say, oh, you use this tool to get this done. That isn't going to be the answer. It really isn't, because there's always going to be a way around it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No matter what, you need to accept that. And I think everybody, you just need to take a deep breath and accept that AI is here. We can use it productively, and think positive.
Yeah.
And, be responsible. You have to learn. Don't stop learning. Find out.
Yeah, I agreed. And this is also going to apply to third-party tools like Magi.
Mhm.
It is going to apply like any of these tools, because this is a legal mandate. Somebody had asked Dustin this over in the Magi Facebook group, and he said that, yeah, I mean, this because it's a legal mandate and enforced by the EU, no matter how you're using Claude, in Claude natively or through a third-party tool, this is going to happen with that. But one thing he mentioned that I thought was cool is he mentioned this site is called AIwatermarkchecker.com. So y'all might want to jot that down. In just looking at it, you can paste AI generated text, and then on the right side, it's going to analyze it and tell you, I guess, what it thinks. I played with one of these tools like last year, and I did an experiment. On the box, it was very similar to this. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been this one. Who knows? But it looked different. The homepage looked different, so it's probably not this one. But I literally just typed a paragraph off the top of my head on the left, click the analyze button, and what do you think it said on the right side? It said it was like 90-something% AI generated. I'm like, give me a break. Are you kidding? I just wrote something off the top of my head. That's the concern, with this whole patterns and stuff and how these AI models are trained. Well, they're trained on people. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll watch this closely to see, where this goes and what happens. But I just thought this is a great topic for us to be discussing, because this will affect everyone.
Yeah, I have a couple of articles in draft on my Substack about it, but it's almost like talking about politics,
right?
Or religion.
Yeah.
It's like the second you bring up AI, people are attacking, even if you're talking about things that you may not like about it. But again, if I shared that my writer friend who's dyslexic was able to write her book and publish it, which was a lifelong dream for her, people would lose their minds. Well, she should have hired somebody, blah, blah, blah. It's like, she couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we use tools? But I think there are ethical, nuances to discuss.
I think that I absolutely think that we've just got to keep our minds open.
Mm-hmm.
And I, in particular, I think that the medical profession is one that we even need to watch more closely, because just this morning, it was on X, it was like Google, I think it was, that they've now got to where people who use sign language to communicate, now the AI can read the signs, so they can put that up on the screen and get things done much faster. But I think overall, it's going to be a positive thing. And there'll always be folks in the world that just are lazy. They don't want to, the quick way out. And it's not going to be, it's not something worth spending a whole lot of time over, actually. it's just see what you can get done
Yeah.
and see if people benefit.
Well, one last thing, and then we'll move on because I want to get to a couple other things before we're already almost at the top of the hour. There's so many AI tools that enhance and allow us to get more done in less time, or just be more efficient, or whatever. And I've talked here about Opus Clip. And if you're not familiar with Opus Clip, definitely recommend it. I use Opus Clip because it saves me time. It allows me to do something using AI that I normally don't have time to do, and that is to take a long piece of long form video, put it into Opus Clip, and it will use AI to look for the best clips, give you 20 to 30 clips,
Mhm.
and then from there you can just go post them or edit them and post them. I don't just post them. I will edit. I'll usually go through that list and then maybe pick 3 to 5 and do a little editing, get it fine tune it. But that allows so many people to utilize AI to do something they normally didn't have time to do. And then there's Descript. And so I've been doing something new here with my AI shortcuts. This is a long form, we're live right now all over social media. And one of the things that I normally just don't have time to do is to take this, which is usually an hour to an hour and 20 or 30 minutes, right? So this is like a 60 to 90 minute video every week. I've done this before. It's very time consuming to go in and manually edit and just make a best of version, because some people are not going to want to sit through the bantering we do at the beginning, or some of the little side chats in between, the main parts of our discussion, and tangents and things, right? So there were times where I would just do it manually, but it's very time consuming. It's something I actually love doing. I love video editing, but it's very time consuming. And I started looking at Descript because they have an AI feature. It's not perfect, but you can use it to let it do a lot of the work for you. And while I still do a lot of fine-tune editing myself, what I've been able to do, and I've been doing this the last several weeks, I want to have a best of this. And I even had, it was so funny because I've been trying to carve out more time to do that. Descript is the only way, using the AI features, the only way I've been able to even try to spend time on this. And somebody in the comments was asking me, like, they wish there was, just the best parts. And it was just so interesting. It's like, oh, I've been working on this. So I really worked it into my weekly workflow now. And I have a whole system with Descript. And this AI feature is called Underlord. And it took me some time to get it to learn how to use it. But I am using Claude 5 because they have the different AI models. And you're just telling it what you want it to do. So I can give it this the long form of this, and to talk to it about how I just want to get the best parts of this conversation. I actually start with ChatGPT first. I will actually my full workflow is I get the timestamped transcript. I start with ChatGPT to help me kind of go through and figure out, like, what were the best, the main conversations and the best parts. And I start with it giving me a prompt to put in the Descript. And then from there, I work in Descript with it. And when everything's said and done, I have this version that's usually 30 minutes or less of just all the best parts of the discussion. And I love that. And I'm getting some great response to that. But I'm using an AI tool that, if I didn't have that at my fingertips,
It'd take forever.
Then I wouldn't be doing it. And I wasn't doing it because it is too time consuming to do manually. So there's so many different ways my point is, so many ways to use AI where, well, if I didn't have this tool, then I wouldn't be doing this thing because there's not enough hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's too expensive to hire somebody. It's already expensive enough using this tool. And I go through the credits pretty fast sometimes. And I got to go pay for extra credits, especially because I find that Claude 5 works best if I use that. Well, you're going to go through the usage. It will literally take like a lot of credits just to have it go in and do all these changes, right? But it's a huge time saver. And I'm just trying to save time so I can get a good piece of content out that I know will benefit other people. I also do it because I know that would benefit me. I would rather watch somebody's best of instead of going back like this kind of content we're doing here each week. There's a lot of great information we pack in, but a lot of people don't have time to sift through the whole thing and just want the best parts. And I love that I have a new system for doing that, but it's completely because of AI that I'm able to do it. I want to get to this before the top of the hour. Interesting thing that happened to me yesterday and today on TikTok. So AI bots on TikTok have been very difficult to deal with. And I just want people to be aware, as I talked about at the start of this discussion at the top of the hour, about how AI bots are really taking over all over the place, especially social media platforms. And so I'm going to play I'm not going to play the full videos, but I'm going to play a couple of these 2 videos in question on my TikTok. So this is it's not my Madalyn Sklar TikTok. I have my other thing, my side projects, a passion project in the Kratom community where I help educate and advocate for this plant because it's been something that's been life-changing for me for chronic pain issues. And so I'm very active on TikTok because it's a great place for me to share a lot of educational information that helps a lot of people. But when you talk about something that's kind of gray area with these platforms' community guidelines, sometimes, they'll just delete one of your videos and tell you, you guys strike on your account because you broke the community guidelines with this, you did this or that or whatever. So I'm kind of used to that happening from time to time, but it hasn't happened in a while on TikTok. So I've been doing a lot better on TikTok lately. And I've built up, this awesome channel. I've had it for the last couple of years. My first TikTok channel was deleted because talking about this plant, but the one I have now, I've gotten in trouble a few times. I almost lost it a few times, but I'm almost at 9,000 followers, and I just love that I have a way for me to help educate people about this plant. And so I had made a video. One of the things I like to do is I like to make reply videos. And by the way, Twitter just added this as a feature, I notice, is in YouTube. It's kind of new, but TikTok's had it for a long time. So basically on TikTok, when people are in the comments, whether it's your videos or somebody else's videos, when people reply in the comments, you can hit reply and and you do this on your phone, there's a little video camera, like a little, like a video icon. And then you can literally do a video reply. Your camera comes on and then is replying to that person's, and it'll have their comment at the top of your video. It's a great feature. So I do that all the time because I'll answer people's questions, but I'm also putting it out to my community so they can all answer it as well. And then we have this big discussion. So I posted one yesterday. Immediately it was pulled down. Like it was the bots, because when you upload a video on any of the platforms, any of the social media platforms, they all use AI now to go and check it to see to detect, are you following community guidelines? Are you putting up something you're allowed to put up? Are you talking about something that is not allowed in their guidelines? And their AI will detect things. And at times, it'll just delete you when you're in trouble. So that's what happened to me yesterday morning. I uploaded the video. They immediately deleted it, gave me a strike on my account, and told me the reason why they took it down, it was for bullying and harassment. Now, that was a first. That's never happened. Usually what they do on this channel I have is because it's a plant, even though it's federally legal, is very gray area. And you got to be really careful what you talk about and how, and you can't promote brands and like all kinds of stuff, right? So I'm pretty careful about how I do. I'm just educational. That's all it is, just an educational account. So I was expecting to be, they call it, what do they call it? Consumer, something goods. Anyway, it's what they call like the kind of gray, well, it's not a banned product, but it's that gray area. And so they don't know what to do. So so the bots will decide, right? But I'm like, bullying, harassing. I'm like, how did I bully and harass in this video? So I was not very happy, because not only do they take it down, they gave me a strike on the account. So that's basically like, here's a warning. You do this to you, 3 strikes and you're out. You lose your account. I'm like, this wasn't even accurate. So I was pretty upset that their AI got this completely wrong. So you can appeal. So I did the appeal, but you just have to wait. That means a human will go look at it. So 24 hours later, the human looks at it this morning and it put it up, because I didn't do anything wrong. So I'm just going to play a little bit of the 2 videos, because what I did when it was pulled down yesterday, I made a video to let everyone know that this happened. So let me start with a little bit of this, because it's incredibly frustrating that AI is causing this. Hey friends, so I want to let you know I posted a video this morning on my TikTok, and TikTok immediately removed it. I've been getting in trouble with them lately. It makes no sense. They took down a video I posted saying it was harassment and bullying. You know what it was? It was a video reply I did from our conversation we've had previously, talking about how much Kratom helps for stopping alcohol use. There was nothing in there with, you'll see, because I'm pretty confident the AI bots they used did that. And I've appealed it, so I'm waiting for a human to go check it. And I imagine they're going to put it back, because there's no harassment or bullying. All right, so they put it up this morning, and I'm like, oh, finally, okay. It took a little while, but I'm gonna play some of this, because it's like, you look at this and you go, how did their AI bot decide that a video discussion about a plant and how some people have found that they have no desire to drink alcohol since drinking this little tea they make out of this plant? Like, how on earth do they come up with the bot saying this is bullying and harassment? So let me play a little bit of this, because it's just interesting. I want y'all to share your personal experience here as well. So this comment says, I've been taking Kratom regularly for 4 years, haven't had nor wanted a drink in 3.5 years. I didn't put the 2 of them together. I can't tell y'all how many times I've heard this exact same thing from people. I've talked to thousands of people over the years about Kratom. I have my Kratom Stories podcast, the Kratom Real Talk community, our Kratom Gals live stream. I'm very active on social media. I've talked to so many people, and it's amazing how many people have said the same thing over and over and over. They said, I started using Kratom for, and fill in the blank, for my chronic pain, for recovery, for my anxiety or my depression, whatever. Like, you'll hear all these different things. And many times, that's my dog, many times people will say, you know what I realize? I don't have a desire to drink anymore. I'm not interested in alcohol anymore. It's like this secondary thing they weren't expecting, but gladly welcome. And I think that is so cool. So I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. It's such an interesting topic. Now, some people did start using Kratom specifically to stop consuming alcohol, but so many people have said this was just something they realized they didn't always notice at first. I think it's amazing. So yeah, and say hi to my dog. Say hi, Lucy. She just woke up because she heard me talking to you. All right, thank you so much for watching. And I make videos like this all the time, so be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you in that next video. All right, so where's the bullying and harassment in that video?
That's crazy. If I was ever going to say that there was someone in the world that would never ever harass or bully someone, it would be you, Madalyn. So that is, of course, it's insane to me. But again, it just shows the false positives that AI is with. It's
like this love-hate thing with AI, right? I love it. AI has been a game changer in my business life. It allowed, because look, we're not getting young here and getting older. Like, I'm definitely slowing down when I think back to always in my 30 years of working for myself in digital marketing, I always had my regular work that I get paid to do and whatever my side passion project is. I did my music community for 20 years, and like they were basically 2 full-time jobs I did. I did both full time. I mean, it's how I operate. And then I go from, the music community to the whole Twitter Smarter community. And now is shifted into this with AI stuff, but this is more my business stuff right now. And then the Kratom thing is my little side thing that I spend all my free time on. So it's basically a full-time thing I do. And it's getting harder as we're aging, and I'm no youngster. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't have the energy. Like, I definitely don't have the energy I used to have, over the decades doing this much stuff. But AI has helped me tremendously. And I feel like I'm still able to keep up and do the amount of things I want to do in a day. Like I've talked about a gazillion times here, Whisperflow has been such a game changer for me. I'm not typing all the time. I just talk into whatever thing I'm using on my computer or phone. And it allows me to do more, which means I can keep going, and if it wasn't for all these AI tools and ChatGPT and Magi and all the things, then I don't think I would be able to spend nearly as much time juggling both things I want to do both things, so I love AI. This helps me a lot. But when something like that happens with a chatbot, an AI chatbot, or just AI bot, is incredibly frustrating, because nowhere in that video am I bullying or harassing. And to the point that not only did they, we're taking this down for violating guidelines, but to give me a strike. Like, it has to be a pretty big deal to get a strike, because that's just, you're one step closer to actually having your account deleted. So
that's so crazy. That was on TikTok, you said?
TikTok. That was on TikTok. That's something I have to deal with regularly on TikTok with the Kratom stuff. TikTok, X is great. Substack is great. Of course, Skool is great. That's why I pay money every month to have a place where I can bring people together to talk about it, where there's no censorship. Is that important to me? Facebook is tough, and just me showing that video and talking about it. And I don't know how Facebook's going to feel about that. I didn't even really think about that till now. So don't be, I think all three of us are live streaming this on our Facebook in addition to others. Hopefully it will not be an issue, but they use these bots to detect the audio transcript, right? But I tell you what, I think they're starting to utilize video too now. I don't think it's just the audio when we're doing video. I know that's been how they've done it, but I think, because look at how ChatGPT, and I've demoed it so many times, where I'm on the mobile app and I can turn on the camera and it sees me while I'm talking to it. And it's like, how on earth is it doing that? But the technology is so improved now that it wouldn't surprise me if somebody got in trouble on one of these platforms for community violation, just because the AI can see you visually. Maybe you're not saying something, but there's something visual they detect.
Yeah, it could be like this pattern recognition that they're looking for that we aren't even aware of,
right? And
maybe didn't. Like, everybody was like, M dashes, don't use M dashes anymore. Screw that. I'm using M dashes till the day I die. I've written with M dashes since I started keeping a diary at age 10. So I'm 62 now. So 5 decades I've been using them, not going to change. But I think if people are that hyped up, like, oh, it's an M dash, can't read anymore, then fine, you're not my demographic, and off you go. Which just, we can't control how people are going to react to it.
I love M dashes. I was so disappointed when ChatGPT was all about the M dashes, and then people like, oh, somebody's using ChatGPT because all those M dashes. It's frustrating, because I always liked them. So, we were all conditioned to not be using it, because people they're using AI. But yeah, I'm like you, Rachel. I mean, I've kind of relaxed my little internal policy on that. It's like, you know what? If I occasionally want to do an M dash, I even like doing the ... And I don't think I'm ever doing it in proper writing style.
Doesn't matter.
I just like how I tell you what, let me tell you what I love about the internet, going to that point right there. So my first blog, this was back when blogs, people didn't even know what the word was. So I was on blogger.net in 2000. So I had my very first blog in 2000.
Wow.
And yeah, you know what? I think it's still there. I'll have to go look for. I know I saw it a few years ago. I was
Mine
like,
is
oh my
too,
God.
probably. I think I started mine in 2006. My blogger blog. Yeah.
But you know what I loved about blogs in the early days? Because, you know, we all grew up where writing was, you had to do proper everything, right? Proper writing style, proper
The
grammar, proper
craft.
everything, right?
Yes.
And I'm a fan of proper grammar and stuff, but so I always wanted to just write like me talking.
Yeah.
And blogs was the first introduction where it kind of took a while for people. I mean, some people didn't like it and would criticize, but when I started my blog in 2000, I'm like, I'm just going to type what I'm thinking, how I talk, and just, you know, and I like doing short form. I just like no fluff too. That's why I like Twitter so much. When Twitter came on the scene, I'm like, this is for me, short and to the point, 140 characters. I'm like, this is my style. But with blogging, it really changed the landscape of it's okay to write how you want. And I just would write like how I talked. And I loved doing that. And you know, it was a bit of a transition for people to get on board, but I really felt like early blogging is what helped that shift. Because yeah, sometimes, I mean, I'm just always going to write like how I talk. And sometimes I just like kind of think, dot, dot, dot. And you know, it's just, and I don't even care like what people think, because I'm writing something from me internally, and it should matter like how I put it to paper or how I put it to computer, right?
Well, that's your voice. Your voice. That's as my voice goes out. That's how you developed your voice. My an example, my father never liked his writing, so he his cursive, so he all his life to this day, he's 89, writes in all caps. That's just how he's done it. You know, some people, one of my clients will send everything in bullet points.
Yeah.
That's how they've learned to share their voice. And I love that shows our own quirkiness as well. So I embrace that. I wouldn't change that, because not that you're going to, but I think for anybody who has a certain way of writing, just keep writing how you're writing.
Yeah. Because we're in a day and age nobody cares. But I really credit blogging in the early days. It's how I think people started getting more comfortable. You always still had the people that were, you know, the writing police, like, that's not how you're supposed to write. You're not doing proper writing, proper English, or whatever, however they should call it. Because, you know, we had the way we all learned in school growing up. And I was always a rebel. So
well,
I'm like, I'm going to write it however I want.
Yeah, I know, right? I still am the rule follower. But sometimes I think that helps us. If you can find a happy medium, then you can try some things you might normally have not tried, but you can still like stay within the guidelines. So yeah, it's just what I tell people when they're like, well, I don't know what format I should write in, and I don't know if I should write in past tense or present tense. I'm like, you know what? Just write it.
Just write, yeah.
And, you know, 25 drafts later, you can say, maybe I'm going to write it in third person. Okay, go write it in third person, you know? And actually that might be, let's just say you did that. You took this whole thing that you wrote in first person and you said, I want to write the whole thing in third person. You could feed that into chat and it's going to push it out to you 30 seconds later. Whereas if you had to go through an entire document of 100,000 words, that's a really, you know, hypothetical, but probably very real example of what how they might use AI to create their final work. And it's still their work, right?
Right. Yes. It's such a great conversation today. Yeah. I really enjoyed this. We covered such an interesting overview of all of this stuff. And I can't wait to see how this develops. I'll definitely be keeping a watchful eye with Anthropic moving forward. And I'm sure we're going to hear from OpenAI with ChatGPT soon. And now also learning from these videos that Gemini's already had the AI watermark. Doesn't surprise me. I just imagine this is going to turn into a broader discussion on in AI in general because of this. So, we'll keep discussing. But thank you all so much for joining. And Rachel, I'm so glad you were here, because when I was,
Thank
you know,
you.
I just thought this topic was just so well suited in your industry.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not the AI expert, but the conversations, I feel like they get shut down very quickly because people can't, they take such an extreme view. Of course, we have the data centers coming in, and the water, and the flock cameras, and there's so many other conversations that are going into all of this. But thank you. I'm always happy to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, it's great having you and Barb. Yeah, great having you all both here today. Great discussion. So we'll be back next Thursday to do it again. And as I was talking about earlier, I will be using Descript with the AI feature called Underlord to make the best of version of this. So instead of it taking me a day or two, I can get it done in a much shorter time span. So that way, if anybody is looking for, the shorter version, just go look on my YouTube channel. This is in the live section for the AI shortcuts to work smarter. And then the video section on YouTube is where, just the regular videos, and that's where I have the best of. So there you go. Awesome discussion as always. So I will see you both next week. Hopefully the guys will be hanging back. We haven't, they've been busy. We haven't seen Bez in a long time.
No, we haven't seen him. I tagged him on something the other day on Substack, but I don't think he responded. And then Jim and I are probably going to do a live in September, so we'll make sure we let you.
Be sure to let us know, because I want to. I want to attend, but I think others here would be very interested. So y'all going to be do like Substack, right?
Honestly, I think we're going to just cover like using video, how it applies for creators, whether you're a writer or an artist or a musician or what you're doing, entrepreneurial stuff. I think that's really the direction we're going to go, but we still have to figure that out. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah. All right. Just keep me posted.
We will.
All sounds good. Well, it's great seeing everybody, and we'll be back next Thursday, and come join us in Skool. And we didn't have time. One of the things I said at the beginning is I wanted to talk about ChatGPT's new work feature, and we didn't have time today, but that's why you want to join our Skool community, because I have the video in there. So this is where we have our continuous discussion. So I have it right here, this video, and is really helpful information on utilizing the ChatGPT work. So I just want to make sure you all are aware we have this awesome community. And that's it for today. We'll be back next Thursday.